I don't know why, but it's like, it feels spooky. I don't know what to do.
Welcome back to the 50. So, you want to ski a classic. I see a lot of people in the comments talk about that. So today, for this episode, we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to ski big objective lines. Bjarne and I are here in the Pioneer Mountains in Idaho. We're looking at a line called the Devil's Bedstead. And as I've said many times in the past, skiing lines doesn't start the morning of. It starts the weeks and days leading up to it. So first off, we're going to start on the computer. Like any good tips and tricks video, let's start with a disclaimer. First off, as I've said before, take an Avi course, not just one, multiple. Gain experience in the backcountry, like lots of it, years of it, and learn from mentors, people that are more experienced than you. So the three phases of skiing big objective lines is researching the line, researching the Avi conditions, and researching the weather. And I'll show you how I kind of do that via my computer. So the first thing I like to do is to research the line itself. And I'm going to use every tool possible to try and understand it from afar before ever stepping foot into the backcountry. Going to do things like Googling trip reports, looking up photos of the mountain, and using topo map software like Onyx Backcountry to calculate my mileage I'm going to cover, the vertical feet we're going to have to gain, and just understand the terrain as best as possible before going into it. So the second thing I like to do is research the Avi report. And that's not just looking at the danger rating, whether it's low, moderate, or considerable, but actually understanding it, looking at the forecast discussion and looking at the potential hazards, and then compare them to the line research that you've already done. So for instance, Devil's Bedstead, which we're about to do, it's a north-facing slope. It's about 11,800 feet. And looking in the forecast discussion, I see that there's been some sustained winds at upper elevations. So knowing that, I have to think about the potential for wind loading up there. But knowing that it's also a north face, I don't have to worry too much about the warming that they're talking about as a potential hazard. So these are the kind of observations you're making when looking at an avalanche report and then comparing it with your line research you've done before. These are the kind of data you need to understand your potential hazards for the day and your potential planning for the day. And so the last thing I like to do is look at the weather forecast. And we all know weather forecasts are inherently unreliable, but as you get closer to the day you're going to go, the weather forecast does get more and more reliable. I like to use OpenSnow. To me, I found them to be the absolute best at mountain forecasts and giving me the data I need to make my decisions. So looking at Devil's Bedstead for tomorrow, which we plan on skiing, I'm seeing not too many red flags. We've got a little bit of warming, a high of 38 degrees, which definitely is warm, but we also see some winds from the northwest coming in, which means it'll keep our north face of Devil's Bedstead a little bit cool. So that one potential hazard we have with warming and wet slides, probably not going to be much of an issue. But I'm going to also factor that into our day's plans, which means most likely we're going to get an early start to get ourselves some leeway in case we do encounter warming later in the days. The other thing I see, a little bit of cloud cover, not too much of an issue. Otherwise, it's looking like we're good to go for tomorrow. Okay, so now that the research is done, now it's time to make a plan and try and stick to that. So the first thing I like to do is make a time when I want to be on top of the summit. So looking at the weather, looking at the route, we're thinking about noon on top. See those winds coming in the afternoon. So getting in and off the mountain before that would be great. So considering we have 7 miles and about 5,000 vert to the top of a line that's over 11,000 feet, we have to think that it's going to take at least 5 hours. But with that, we're going to be covering a little bit of that on e-bikes, and then you and I take it a little bit slower because we're filming along the way. So I would estimate we're going to be hiking for potentially 4 to 5 miles and we'll be covering about 3,500 to 4,000 vert on foot. So I'm going to give ourselves about 5 hours to get up there by noon. So that means leaving by 7 o'clock. But I also like a little margin for error. So I think we should leave at 6 in the morning, get on our e-bikes, start pedaling up the trail, and have ourselves a little bit more of a relaxing day as opposed to having to race to the summit by noon. So that's kind of our plan. I think, I don't know how you feel about it, Bjarne. Do you feel good about it?
I feel leaving by 6 a.m. is a good call.
Cool. Yeah, not a super alpine start, but good enough. So yeah. Buenos dias.
Time is it?
It is 6:02. We're late.
2 minutes late.
2 minutes late.
Bummer.
I always like to be early on mountains than late, so sticking to the plan. No wind so far. I know. That's why I said so far, because I know it's coming. Let's go time. Let's do it. Whee! Wow! That drainage, not this drainage. 6:45, made our way almost to the base of it. Yeah, on pace. One other little thing I like to do every time I'm going for big line and big mountains, and it's a little personal, whether you believe it or not, something I do. As I'm kind of going in, I just kind of like talk to the mountain, announce myself, ask for passage, and ask for humility. If anything, it always makes me feel like a little humble. I'm a guest here in these big, wild, and sometimes dangerous places, and I'm just trying to move through it as safely as possible and kind of connect with it instead of conquer it. I'm just trying to decide which way to go up. Obviously, if you're in a gully, you've got a direction to go, but you're in a gully and generally it's steep walled, water, rocks, all that kind of stuff. It's usually not great terrain. But then to the right of that, you're in this pretty tight forest, and you can make your way through. It looks like there's enough snow, but you know, you might be a little slow going because of the forest. But then you can go to that Abbey chute and we have a clear way, but we might be boot packing, which is in itself inefficient. When you get to these points sometimes without beta and knowing exactly from local experience what to do, you just roll the dice and hope it doesn't cost you. At the base of the main face, 2.5 hours in, about $2,000 up, and another 2.5 to go, and we're pretty well on schedule. The one thing, as predicted, that wind looks like it's coming in. Trying to keep the pace actually quite slow, because I feel like our only real hazard at this point is freezing our buns off from this wind. Obviously, not too worried about warming. That wind slap potential, yeah, tiny bit there, but super small isolated pockets, just because it's not like there's been fresh snow in a while, so we're not getting like heavy loading. It's just more like moving it around a little bit. This is what I'm always thinking on the way up. You're always observing, always thinking. As I say, it takes 100 yeses to get to the top and 1 no to turn around.
Well, just getting off the skins, just because you can kind of see actually right there, there's just this little like surface bluff starting to come down. It's just like spin drift, nothing big hazard, except if you're on your skins and it like takes out your tips and you're like sliding and it's weird. And it's like, all right, let's just boot it. No hazards, no red flags popping up, so just keep moving on, keep getting yeses. Maybe it's not the most beautiful day, but hey, we're here. It's awesome. we're there, man.
Nice job, dude.
Yeah, me too. Good teamwork. 5 to 12. Did we not call that? Or did we not call that? Time to have a little summit lunch and put on the skis and ski down, you know? Ready? Stand it.
Feels spooky. I don't know what to do. Either just kind of go back to where we came from or head out to the left. Hey, what are you thinking? I don't know. This feels a little spooky. I'm gonna just slowly work my way around. Yeah, like I'm saying, man, if that face, once it gets a massive warm-up, that thing's gonna go big. Isothermic on a bike. Yes, I think that's a great idea, what you're just doing right now. Oh my god, it worked! Holy crap! I invented a new sport! Oh my god!
Look, it's not over until you're at the car, right?
Yeah, you got right at the car. We did it. We skied to the car. Skied. Yeah, we are back. It's 3 o'clock, so yeah, you and I are definitely always slow, so you could do this in a lot quicker, but hopefully there were some things you learned in there. Not super in-depth, because watching one video cannot replace decades of experience, mentorship, multiple Avalanche classes, and being very, very, very active in the backcountry skiing, because it's something where it's unbelievable, super fun, but if you make one mistake, you might die. So yeah, that's kind of the reality of it. So now it's time to move to the next one. Checked off number 34. We'll work on 35 in the next day or two. Good, that was a good one.